Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome on in. Oh. I'm going to go ahead and I was going to keep the window open, but the local ambulance decided to have other opinions on that. That's not the police. There's a hospital right nearby. I'm too lazy to press first. Good morning. Sorry, not good morning. Good afternoon, everybody. It has been a wild couple of days. It's been a wild day here. I'm your host, BullMuscle. We're going to have ourselves a good little talk stream here. We're just going to talk some story, all right? It's not another joke by the Knicks. Beautiful. Anytime the Knicks fall apart, it's funny because it means Stephen A. Smith is going to be pretty mad. Thought I'd show you all this hat. I forgot I had this actually. Mr. 5 Points Vids gave this to me over in Burlington, North Carolina. So we pretty chill. He got a flag actually. I'll hang it up whenever I move into my new digs, but haven't had the ability to do that yet. Did I get sunburned? Yes. I also got a tan. And I'll explain why. So y'all can see the. So I'm going to move this over here, just because that way it is like the one lightest corner of the screen is where that's on. I went ahead and tried to change the volume a little bit. It sounded like I was a bit too loud. I was bouncing off the limiter. So hopefully that improves my audio quality a bit today. If you notice that it's too low, too high, please say something. Good evening on the East Coast. Out here in Hawaii, it is very still... very much broad daylight. It is 4:30 in the afternoon. I know it's a little later than I said I would be streaming, but it's just been crazy day. Crazy couple of days. So the stream, actually I want to talk about a few things first before I get to the meat of the program. But the first one is, y'all have seen my protein shakes on this channel, God knows how many times over the years. I'm gonna take this off. I don't know why I was wearing it, but y'all had seen me make those shakes with chocolate protein powder and the peanut butter, the CDVII. Unfortunately, the Costco's in Oahu, at least the two I've been to, there are three. I haven't been to the one all the way out in Kapolei, but the Costco's in Oahu do not have CDVII. However, they have a fun alternative for about the same price, and it's this. I polished this whole bag off in one day, sue me, but the macros are insanely good on it. This is teriyaki flavored dried ahi jerky. So they also have aku, which is like basically it's yellowfin tuna sticks. It's incredibly tasty, and this was so fucking good. I could not help it. I ate the entire bag. I shouldn't have. I did. But the best part is the macros, right? So 90 calories per serving, 7.5 servings, so that's 675 calories for the bag, so it's basically a meal. But 14 grams, let's see if it'll focus in. There we go. 14 grams of protein per serving, so 14 times 7.5, right? Now you're talking 105 grams of protein in this bag. So I demolished that. I shouldn't have, but I did. Now it's made over on the Big Island in Hilo, so pretty dope stuff. Nuggets fall in Game 7 to the Timberwolves. So who's left? Indiana, Minnesota. Who else is left in basketball playoffs? That would be interesting to know. I will actually, while I'm here, I'd forgotten to write down the macros, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. The poor book's starting to get beat up a bit. The binding's coming off, so I need to probably go and get it rebound, like y'all can see. Yeah, that's not ideal. The bindings come loose. Dallas versus Minnesota. Indy versus Boston. We've seen Dallas and Boston win it. It'd be kind of neat to see a Minnesota sports team finally pull one out, because Minnesota's a cursed sports state. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and write what I just ate down. So that's, I'd rather do that in pencil. I also had these little Fit Crunch bars. These are pretty solid. Macros aren't as good. 16 grams of protein for 190 calories, but still rather tasty. And then had my protein today. Today was a squat day in the gym, so I'm just absolutely shot. I don't feel like getting up at all. But, so let's see. I ate this whole thing of jerky. There's a shit ton of sodium. Fuck. But that's 90 times 7.5, so that's 675 calories. 14 times 7.5, so that's 105, which casting and ENB, welcome on in. 105 grams of protein. In other words, I'm already close to, I'm basically at 200 grams of protein for the day, which is great. Shave my head, yeah, I'll talk about that. It says 0 grams of fat. It's pure tuna. Tuna, good yellowfin basically doesn't have any fat. So. And then 7 grams of carbs. So that's 7 times 7.5 is 49.5 plus 3.5 is 52.5. So we'll just say 53. So that's pretty great. So right now, today I've eaten, let's see, 400, 640, 830. 905, 1500, about 1,500 calories and about 200 grams of protein. So we're doing great. I will probably have some pupusas for dinner, which will be nice. I like them. They're Chilean cheese. So let's talk a few things. Oh, excuse me. First things first. Y'all can see I'm maybe a slightly different complexion color. The reason for this is that I got a spray tan. Now, why on earth would I get a spray tan? The answer is that I am going to show y'all on the Discord a little secret. So, the past few days, per the stream information, right, the episode is called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way from the Gym, right? Well, what happened was that I was walking out. I was feeling good. I was almost like strutting a little bit just because I hit a really solid pull day a little while back. And on it, there was a guy who had been watching me, I guess. And as I walked out, he stopped me and said, "Hey, how tall are you?" I said, "I'm 6'3". And he said, "Oh, all right, for real? We just got to talk." He's like, "How long have you been on the island?" I said, "Just a few days." And he's like, "Oh, wow, really?" So we had this long conversation. He's like, "I'd love to try it." He cut to the chase. He's like, "I'm actually a modeling director, and I'd like to see if you'd be a pretty good model for clothes and such." And long story short, I said yes, just because I thought it would be a fun thing to try and do. And we did our first model shoot for me today. So I'm a model now, y'all. And in the Discord, I'm going to go ahead and post the first picture. Per what I'd been talking about live. Drum roll. Just going to put one picture. Some of the others keeping for the VIPs. Which island? Hawaii. Yeah. Echelon, I moved to Hawaii. I'm on Oahu right now. I'm out here for work, but my phone's deciding to be annoying. Why are you being like this now? Fuck off. I'll make it work this way then. Reset Discord. Hey John, good to see you. But yeah, no, I'm on the islands now. But I'll show off a little bit. Just kind of the way I look now. You can see, because the financial independence counter of Southeast Asia, yeah, a lot of people assume that. That's fair. But y'all can see fairly good ab definition coming back. Let me go ahead and post this in. the Discord. All right. Someone can link that Discord to Twitch chat. Maybe one of the admins or mods can do that. But hey, thank you very much for the resub, Mr. Triggerbell. I appreciate that. But what do y'all think? Not bad? So there were a couple others that I had in much more revealing clothes, and there is a possibility that I could end up even nude modeling. Don't know yet. I'm gonna run that past my employer first because yeah. I assumed y'all would enjoy that, but the challenge with it is, right, I got to put my day job first, so it's a security thing. The other thing that's coming with this is I have been informed that there are, if you really want those slightly more risque pictures, they're not nudes, but they have me in some fairly revealing swimsuits. Come talk to me, okay? We'll talk about it on Discord, okay? So if you want that, come let me know. As for the future, I may end up caving and getting an Instagram. The reason for this is I've been advised to by my modeling director and by the photographer. They were both shocked that I didn't have one, and I explained why, because of where I used to work, and they said, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So I told them, as long as my current employer here in Hawaii is cool with it, I'll consider it. But otherwise, it went fantastically. We went up to this place over kind of near, I guess it'd say kind of past like Manoa and the Punch Bowl area of Honolulu, but up into the hillsides, like, you know, Mauka towards the city. But this dude had an incredible backyard. We're talking a full kind of Hawaiian and Asian themed garden where, you had lots of like little koi ponds, you had little watercress allotment, you had coconut trees, wild banana trees, wild apple trees, like, and apples I didn't get to try one, unfortunately, but the ones like I hadn't seen before. Apparently it's a cultivar only known to, like, that only grows in Hawaii. So pretty neat in that regard. Got to see all that. As y'all saw the picture, right? That was just one of the coconuts that had happened to fall from one of his trees. So he said, yeah, pick up the coconut, just kind of hold it like a football. And I'm like, okay, I could do that. So that's where that pick came from. Saikongro, it's going rather well. I'll wondering if I can't give you a... No, that was a coconut. No, it was a coconut that I was holding there. Hawaii is treating me very well, though. I can't complain. What time is it? It is about 4:45 here in the afternoon. So I probably won't normally stream this late, although, boy, 26 people in the audience, that's pretty good. Yeah, we were doing that in his backyard. He had a little creek and a waterfall there, and so he got in. But yeah, if y'all want... I'll put it this way. We're at 1,988 followers. If we get 12 more on this stream, I will post the two pictures that are of me in the swimsuit to the Discord. How about that? I want to get to 2,000, but it's got to be on this stream though. So if it happens, great. If not, hey, don't worry about it. I'll tell y'all what. Why don't one of y'all tell the NSFW peeps that? Get them in here. I'm gonna go ahead and how much left for the tan? What do you mean by how much left? How much wasn't? How much wasn't tanned? What do you mean by that? Anyway, yeah, that backyard was freaking crazy. What's great is, like, I got bit by a few mosquitoes in there, but, like, if I had done that, like, compared to South Carolina, it would have been so much worse. How much left for the tan? I already have it. Yeah, I was about to say, how much tanner do you think I'm going to get? I am, okay, look, this is the thing, like, I am pretty white, and there's not a ton I can really, like, I was trying to explain this to the guy. And he, you know, the modeling director's like, yeah, we'll get you a spray tan. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. But, you know, he was saying, we want you to look like you're, you know, a little bit, make you look a little more Hawaiian. First off, I'm not Hawaiian. Very, very clearly not Hawaiian. I'm not even like Hapa. I'm 100% Haole. Like, I'm white. It's what it is. Nothing wrong with it, but, like, hell, you can even sort of see just sort of like under, I mean, they did a pretty good job. There's no like creases or anything where it's very clearly not been applied. But yeah, it was a great photo shoot, and it sounds like, so the way this works from here is the photos are going to get developed, and then I'm going to hear back from the director when he's got clients that want me to model stuff for him. There's also a show he's doing in August that I'll probably be a part of. A couple other things that happened the last few days, so we'll talk about this. The Hawaii Bicycling League is an organization I have joined up with. It's, if you're kind of urbanist or something, you can be adopted. I mean, no. That's not how Hawaiian works. So Hawaiian is a race. You either are genetically, like, ethnically Hawaiian, or you're not. That's you can't become Hawaiian. You can become, you can become a long-term or a local, or I think the word they use around here is kama'aina, but you can't ever become Hawaiian. Hawaiian is like, you know, Italian, right? It's like that. It's like there is Hawaiian is, okay, so Hawaiian is like the people who existed on this island before roughly the 1800s. You know, this is like Polynesian, so you can't become Hawaiian. That's not how that works. You can become a Hawaii resident, but you cannot become Hawaiian. I think Max Holloway, the UFC fighter, I believe he's Kama'aina. I think he trains over in Waianae. I probably butchered that, so my apologies. Or Waianae, that might be it. But Max Holloway, the UFC fighter, he's talked about this in interviews. He flies out with the Hawaii flag all the time. But he says very clear, I'm not Hawaiian. I am a longtime resident of Hawaii. I've lived here pretty much my entire life, but I'm not Hawaiian. David Bell's about to get bowled Nevada Skyline Chili the way they're playing. Oof. Oh yeah, Big Red. I saw the Leafs hired Craig Berube. That's not a terrible hire. He did very well with St. Louis. He did not do very well with Philadelphia, but I think that's more to do with the management of Philadelphia than Berube himself. I think the way the Flyers until very recently were going was kind of proof that franchise was being mismanaged. Anyway, unrelated, but your chest looks nice. I appreciate it. So today we did leg day. In fact, all right, if we get 3 more followers, I'll post some gym pics from today, because I actually had someone, my director actually came with me to the gym afterwards, and he got to see just how hard firsthand that I work in the gym. So if you guys have, let's see, if I click it, it will unfollow. F. I'm surprised, 28 people, usually that means there's 1 follower or 2 to be gained, but I got a mosquito bite like right here, right on the side, like right there. It's driving me crazy. Oh well. That's like just a really inconvenient place to get one, you know. Let's see if I can turn towards the camera, or towards the light a little more. can't ice it. That's not a bad idea. Ooh. Ooh, speaking of angles. Yeah, look at that. Not bad, huh? Not too bad. It's alright. Okay. You know what? Let's see if we can go to... Alright, if we get 30 people watching in here, if we get 30 viewers, I'll go ahead and post a lifting pic. Motorboat respectfully. I'll even give you all a chest bump. Bump, 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 bump. Bump, 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 bump. There you go. There we go. Cool. Anderson Silva facing Chael Sonnen in a boxing match. That should actually be pretty good. POV, I'm looking for pillows at the store. Y'all fucking funny. Okay, so a couple other things. With the Hawaii Bicycling League, so we had a... How do people do the chest pump? Okay, so I want you to think of it. If you want to learn how to do, like, bounce your chests, bounce your pec muscles, you have to be able to control them individually. So the way to do that is you can... pretend you're doing like a chest fly, right? And you're using... Thank you very much for the sub, Niam. You're doing... Right, you're bringing your chest muscles together. Now do it one. Right? Now just drop it. And you do the other. So that's the way to do it there, Echo. If you're curious. Hey, oh, it's Sailor Homo giving a tier 1 sub to the community. Thank you so much. Thanks for the first time gift sub. Welcome on in. Good to have you. You were one of the more recent followers. I do appreciate that. Welcome on in. Mahalo for the sub. So, what else was I talking about? Oh yeah, so I went and did the... There was a rally we did. How is the new job? Okay, so I start the new job tomorrow. I haven't actually begun it yet. Now, I've been on the island for a little over a week because I wanted to find housing, which I have. I'm not going to move in until mid-June, so workout videos probably not going to happen until mid-June, unfortunately. But let me see what the event was called. Marksimus, welcome on in. By the way, if the audio needs a fix or a tweak, just let me know. I'm still trying to work out the kinks on that one. Let me see here. It was Hawaii Bicycling League. There we go. This was for... It was Zach's ride. So, oh, come on, where's the... Let me see if I can find it. Hang on a second. There we go. Yeah, it was called Zach's Ride. So this is for Zachary Monago. This guy was a cycling enthusiast who tragically got killed by a reckless driver a little while ago. And in his honor... the Hawaii Bicycling League went ahead and we had ourselves a little rally and a potluck and a get-together. And we went down to the waterfront park in Kaka'ako, and we hung out for a little while, and then we all collectively rode on the protected bike lanes through downtown Honolulu to the capital, the Hawaii state capital. And we had... a couple people having short speeches, little bit of talk from. We had a couple people from HDOT. We had a couple people. We had someone from the Honolulu Police Department come. We had some other guests, some family members, and it was really touching. And then we waved signs at the front of the Capitol. Just standard, not really a protest. It was more just, we were having a little advocacy movement. It was the first political thing I've done outside of voting in years, and it felt really good. So I'm probably going to become a fairly big advocate for that cause, because especially on a place like Oahu, right? So the island of Oahu has about 1 million people on it. It is not big. The island of Oahu is also roughly about the size of Long Island in New York. You could, if you wanted to, if you took a whole day, you could cycle around the entire island. In theory, there's no roads that actually take you all the way to the West Point. That's actually the west chunk. That furthest westmost point on the island of Oahu is a park, so you can't go there. But you get the idea. It's small enough to where you could do it. Nuggets blew a 20-point lead in the third quarter. Wow, that's wild. But yeah, we had about 100 people at the rally, and it was really nice. But yes, it is a lot of people. And due to some, I would say, poor civil engineering decisions spurred on by the military and aided by the Interstate Highways Act of 1956 and its consequences, which, as we know, have been a disaster for American society, the island of Oahu has some of the worst traffic in the country. And look, this is a small island. There isn't more room. You can't just build one more lane here. The real estate costs are eye-watering. You have to make it denser. And what the island of Oahu has done, Honolulu County has done, is spend billions of dollars on a rail system that's still only halfway done and is woefully over budget and behind schedule. Hopefully they finish it. The next two stops are at the Makalapa Gates, right next to Pearl Harbor, so you get a lot of military workers or base workers, both Hickam Air Force Base and Pearl Harbor, going there. So that should ease some congestion. The other one's the airport, which obviously airport traffic should drastically increase ridership numbers. However, that's still not opening for another year. If the island of Oahu really wanted to decrease traffic tomorrow, all you would have to do, okay, for most people not in the town, Honolulu is going to need a much more elaborate solution. But on the east side of the harbor, all you would have to do is connect the Nimitz bike path, which ends at the intersection of, I forget what the street name is there. It's Bougainville Road / Radford Road. It's where Bougainville Road becomes Radford Road, right next to the NEX. That's where the Nimitz bike path ends. And that one goes all the way down to Dillingham Boulevard in Kalihi Kai, which is not that far from the downtown Honolulu itself. And once you get to once you get to Kalihi Kai, or even more so, once you get to Chinatown in Honolulu, you're not going any faster than 25 miles an hour anyway, so most bicyclists can keep up in traffic. I would still love to see separate bike lanes there, but with the Pearl Harbor bike path, though, the Pearl Harbor bike path starts as far west as, I believe, Kapolei. It goes all the way to basically Aloha Stadium on the southeastern corner of Aiea, or I think Halawa. But the trouble is, the Pearl Harbor bike path just kind of spits you out on a sidewalk on the side of the Kamehameha Highway. And the Kamehameha Highway is, it's 35 miles an hour. And the trouble is, there's a painted bicycle gutter south of the Makalapa Gate, but there isn't one in between. There's no bike trail. There's no bike lane or a way for if you're a cyclist, you cannot go easily, and there's nowhere for you designated for you to go as a cyclist from the Pearl Harbor bike path to the Nimitz bike path. And if you could connect those with just a bicycle lane, this would be a very cheap thing to do. This would not be, it would be quick, it would be cheap. If you could just connect those two bike paths, you could get from Kalihi Kai all the way out to Kapolei without once having to interact with cars, which means a lot more people would do it, and more importantly, it would take a lot of cars off the road. So this would drastically ease traffic. Unfortunately, it just hasn't been created yet. It seems like, based off of how I talked with HDOT and a lot of other people on the island, that it seems like people are becoming a lot more pro cycling because there's just no other way to do it. Now here, there's a really strong environmental movement. There's a really strong cultural value to. I want to make sure I'm saying this right. I think it's Malaka e Aina. I think I got that right. It's protect the Aina or respect the Aina. It's protect the land. The Aina here is that's the land, the ecosystem, the environment, and right. Hawaii does not have oil and gas resources at all. It's like Japan basically in that regard. It has to import everything, be it from the United States, Canada, or somewhere else. So all that gasoline is imported. How is it imported? With a tanker. How's the tanker? How is the tanker being fueled? With heavy bunker oil, right? So you would be, if you want to protect the ocean, if you want to reduce dependence on imported oil, getting Oahu residents out of cars is a no-brainer. And gas is not cheap here, right? It's $4.75 a gallon. The state of Hawaii has to import all of its gasoline. There's no refineries here. God, you could not build a refinery here, and you shouldn't. The land's already used enough, and it's already quite scarce, and an oil refinery does damage to the land, no matter how cleanly you build it. So for that reason, the best option is to reduce consumption. Honestly, I wish gas prices were higher here. I know that sounds rough, but I would support higher taxes on gasoline here, because it's just not. There is no reason this island should be as car dependent as it is. And even if you're one of the more rural people on the North Shore or West Oahu, again, if you drastically cut the amount of consumption on the island, prices go down. So the best solution here is to get people out of cars, and the best way to do that, especially in a place where the weather is basically perfect, it's 80 degrees more or less all year round, are bicycles. Bicycle infrastructure is a fraction of the cost of rail infrastructure, especially in this country, and especially on this island where, right, the rail, you need it dedicated right away, you need clearances, you need stations, you need electricity to actually power the thing. With a bike path, you just need 6 feet of roadway, maybe 10 feet of roadway if you're feeling generous. That's it. Surprised it's not higher. Yeah, so California has a unique blend of gasoline and very high gasoline taxes. So Hawaii does not actually have particularly high fuel taxes. It's just high because, right, it's the cost of being on the island. It's the same reason milk is $8 a gallon. Oh, that hurts, even just to say. That's the thing. Like, I wish gas prices and milk prices out here were flipped. I would gladly take $4.75 a gallon milk at this point if it meant gas was $8 a gallon. But Tyson Fury wants a rematch for sure. But probably forget the names of the places, the streets you mentioned the last 10. Okay, so I can try and pull it up on my phone exactly what I'm talking about. So if we go to Google Maps, right? So I'm going to try and, well, probably should, there we go, turn on incognito mode for Google Maps. There we go. Braun Animations. It's nice to see more pro bicycling movements around the world. Bicycles are a money printing youth machine, right? That's the other thing. The cost of living in Oahu and the state of Hawaii at large is very high, and it's pricing out a lot of the locals, which sucks. One of the easiest ways to cope with that would be if you could give locals an alternative to driving, which means they no longer have to pay $4.75 a gallon. They no longer have to pay $100 a month for insurance. They no longer have to pay maintenance costs, and they no longer have to pay the cost of actually buying a car. I've chosen not to do that. The state of Hawaii does put its money where its mouth is on this one. They offer a $500 rebate if you buy an e-bike and you don't own a car, which is what I have done. An e-bike is... Oh, it's a fucking hack around here. I just wish, again, that there were separate bike lanes because it would be safer. Incognito mode turned on. Okay, so let me try and explain this. Ow. What we have here is the island of Oahu, right? Okay. So the island of Oahu has, as you can kind of clearly see, it's got Pearl Harbor in the middle on the south side. It's got the city, right, the town Honolulu in the southeast, right? And the idea here is that all the cities around the harbor, so that's Westlock Estate, Ewa Beach, Waipahu, Waimalu, Pearl City, Aiea, Salt Lakes, and then the bases, right, Pearl Harbor and Hickam, they're all going to get connected by this rail, but there's already a bike path there. All you would have to do is connect it from, okay, here, yeah, it's the corner of Radford and Bougainville. All you would need to do is connect it. It's about 1 mile from the green there. That's Aloha Stadium. That's where the Pearl Harbor bike path ends, right there. All you have to do is connect it, or just put a bike lane, on the Kamehameha on both sides, down to there. That's it, right there. That's it. It's just 1 mile. It's not even 1 mile. Actually, you know what? Let's find out exactly how long it is. So, Nimitz bike path ends, directions, and choose on map. All you would have to do... Okay, it's 2 miles, excuse me. All you'd have to do is connect that little chunk, and you'd be able to go across the entirety of Pearl Harbor without ever interacting with a car. That's it. That's all you'd have to do. That's really all you'd have to do. Not to mention, if you just put a bike lane there on Radford Drive, then you'd give people who lived in Kalihi or people who lived in Salt Lakes an easy way to get to the bases and commute in. I dream in memes. Yes, I do look more tan. It's because I've gotten a tan. I am in Hawaii. But no, I got a spray tan because I was actually doing some modeling. That's kind of been one of the cool events here. Just checked on maps, kind of makes sense. Yeah, there's always so that's the thing. The trouble is that, especially on the island, things are done on island time here, but the trouble with big government projects is that they're very easy to fuck up. And rail in particular, because the United States hasn't done it for so long, is even easier to fuck up. So instead, right, knowing that the government's gonna screw things up, instead of just saying, oh, we'll just make more highways. Well, no, that's fucking stupid. That's just gonna make traffic even worse. What you do is you say, okay, government, make a bike path. A bike path is so simple to make that even the most corrupt government should have no problem doing it. It's barely more difficult than a sidewalk. And even your most corrupt governments in the United States, I'm looking at you, Louisiana and Illinois, even they can make sidewalks. So, and is a bike path the cure-all? Is it the silver bullet? No. But if you got just, 10% of the people in cars cycling to work on those bike paths because they were connected, you would see a massive improvement in traffic around here. Good enough for government work? Yeah, pretty much. Well, and it's just sad because, again, especially out here, especially in the island of Oahu, especially where people care a lot about the environment, people care a lot about their health too. I mean, Hawaii does have the highest life expectancy of any U.S. state. Part of that is because the diet is a lot better out here. Part of it is because people spend a lot of time outside, and part of it is because of the level of exercise. They're afraid people will stop buying cars. Who's afraid? The state of Hawaii? Why would the state of Hawaii want that? There's who's they, you know? Like there's you can try and blame this on big scary evil corporations, but that's not it. This is just poor government policy. It's that simple. And people love to say, oh, it's the government, the government's beholden to corporate interests. To an extent, but the government spends what the government will spend, and the government is the one that has subsidized highways to an insane degree. What's up, C-Dub? Looking tan AF. Yeah, so I've actually started doing some modeling out here, which is why I look kind of tan. I'm pretty happy with it. But yeah, like I don't. Here especially, the other one I would look at if I had to own a car here, I would get a Kei car, those little Japanese micro cars, because much like Japan, right? Japan is a small island with a lot of people. Oahu is a small island with a lot of people. You don't need a giant stupid truck here. In fact, it's a really bad idea to own one. Now, a lot of people have Tacomas, and I'm not going to hate on the Taco, because the Taco is still fairly reasonably sized. I'm talking F-250s, right? Here, there is zero reason, like, there is no reason anyone here should own, like, a quad cab, lifted, or, luxury trim F-250. There's no reason to own one here. Because, like, the reason you would own a big truck like that, is to haul heavy equipment, hundreds and hundreds of miles. Well, you run out of island pretty quickly here. And it's not like the speed limits are high, so you don't need to go at 70 miles an hour the whole time. In fact, there is nowhere you can go legally 70 miles an hour on this island. And even on the highways, nobody speeds. People drive Aloha here. Like, go 60, Silent Zach says B.MBVV. That's interesting. Maybe if you had 5 surfboards to haul around, you can do that in a K-van. Why would you need... A surfboard is not a heavy item. You don't need a truck for that. In fact, a truck's the wrong tool for the job, because you can't fit a surfboard, a proper big-size surfboard. You can't fit that in the bed, even diagonally wise. You'd need what you would want is a van and then put it on the roof. Like, there's... And again, even then, if you've got a surfboard and you, for some reason, want a truck, why wouldn't a Toyota Tacoma be enough? You don't need a full size, like one of those big Super Duty trucks here. Have to head off to bed. You're going to be doing your sleep habits, so not tired after the afternoon work anymore, which means a 9 p.m. bedtime. Good for you. Yeah, if my audience, it is getting late here. It's 5 in the afternoon, which means it is 11 in the East Coast. So we probably won't go for a lot longer. I was really more just chilling to kind of, I was really talking story. That's what we were doing here. I'm starting to pick up on some of the Hawaiian slang and sort of, it's like bits of pidgin Hawaiian that is kind of just how the locals talk. Even the people who don't speak pidgin Hawaiian, they'll still use bits of like pidgin Hawaiian in conversation. Like this is what we were talking about. This was at the bike rally. At the end, like once we went through all the speeches, we biked back and we were quote unquote talking story. That's how the bike director said it, or the organizer of the event. It's like, yeah, we're just gonna talk story and have some food. It was cool. You play LeBron 1-on-1 to 100. Okay, Jeff D. Neff, this is an interesting question. You play LeBron 1-on-1 to 100, but the catch is you start at 99. You winning? Okay. Maybe if, I can get him distracted at some point. Like if someone else is there, like messing with him, and I can fire off like a lucky long jump, something where he can't block it necessarily. That's about the only way that happens. Because, like, you're not driving to the paint on LeBron. That's not going to fucking happen. right? Even if you somehow manage to get by him, he's going to smack that bad boy right before it hits the backboard. He's, like, really good at that. So I would say, is LeBron still alive? LeBron's like 35, 36, I think. Yeah. So I would say, am I winning? Probably not, but there's a shot. I think if I can get off one lucky shot, that's all I need. So, like, I'm looking to, like, hopefully get a random lucky three, like, where, you know, I'm checking if it's, like, half court, I'm checking the ball. You know, I'm assuming LeBron isn't playing, like, super aggro 100% of the time. If he is, then, yeah, I'm probably not winning. But if, like, if LeBron and I are just chilling there, and I pull up with a random three, maybe I get lucky and one goes in. That's all I would need. He's 38. Okay. But still, like, I don't, like, because I'm not stopping LeBron. Like, LeBron's gonna score pretty much every time he has the basket. So basically, I have anywhere between 33 and 50 attempts, 34 and 50 attempts, assuming I get the ball first, to score on LeBron once. That's basically what that question boils down to. Because, like, realistically, like, even if LeBron's launching threes, do you really think I'm going to get the rebound over him? Most of the time, probably not. Buzzing Ranger, welcome on in. LeBron's still alive. Who am I thinking of? I don't know who you're thinking of, man. But that's a good question. Can I punch LeBron? I mean, yeah, you could. That would in most parts of the world, that would be considered assault. But, like, you know, if you face LeBron in a boxing match, you're probably not winning that. I mean, just on wingspan alone, dude's 6'9". He's gonna be able to hit you back and stay well out of reach of anything you throw. Father Time's telling him to hang it up. I mean, okay, I love making, like, LeMickey memes just because it's funny. But, no, LeBron's the GOAT. Don't be stupid. Like, what more would you want to see from a basketball player to prove that he's the best that's ever done it? Thinking of Kobe, maybe? Ooh. Rest in peace to a legend. He was amazing. Yeah. No, Kobe died in a helicopter crash a couple years ago, I think. That might have been in 2020. God, that year was terrible. It's the same thing with Ovechkin and Crosby in hockey. They're slowly but surely getting older, and it's, yeah, Father Time's, it does come for us all. But, it is what it is. That's a good question, though. That's kind of cool to think about. I think that's about it, all I've got for y'all today. Let's see what else we got going on. So tomorrow, I start my job. I'm going to kind of talk a little bit to kind of my OPSEC crew there, the security guys, and sort of see what the standard is. It does vary from place to place, and I don't think it's going to be quite as tight as my old job, right? My old job was out in South Carolina, and it was weapons. I can talk about that a little bit now. It was weapons related. So because of that, the intel was very tight. I think here it's a little bit, right, because while I am working, right, I'm a nuclear engineer and I live in Oahu. There's really only one job I can do, but like by process of elimination, is it what nuclear item is out here? Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's the only thing that's out here. It's the boats. There's no civilian nuclear power in Hawaii. So you don't have to worry about that. Like, I can't sit here and plausibly tell you guys, yeah, I work at a nuclear reactor, or like I work at a nuclear power plant out here. There isn't one. So, but as a result of that, it's a little bit more, yeah, that's just a thing that happens here, and I think that means it should be a little bit more chill for me to talk about it. We'll see. I hope so. It'd be really nice if it was. I'll probably get a few more modeling pictures coming up, so... Hey, Dragon Knight, did I move to Hawaii? Yes, I did. I am currently sitting here in the Aloha State. Maybe if you had a super secret nuclear reactor. Should there be civilian nuclear power in Hawaii? Well, okay, let's analyze this question, because that's a really great one. Okay. The state of Hawaii has excellent solar power capabilities. Hawaii is a very sunny place most of the time, and generally speaking, as a result, solar power is very affordable, or it's very lucrative there. The trouble is that solar power only works during the daytime, so you either need to build battery storage, which is expensive, and why is it so light out? Because it's 5:20 in the afternoon here. It's Hawaii Standard Time. Looking tannish. I do appreciate that, y'all. Yeah, I know I'm looking tan. Pretty good, I'd say. I have gotten burned once here. I'm trying my best not to get sunburned, but good luck with the job. I appreciate that. So, what else could you do? Well, hydropower. There are only a handful of streams on the island, and none of them are big enough to turn a giant generator, so you can't really do hydropower in Oahu. And I'm just going to talk about, when I'm talking about the state of Hawaii, I'm talking about Oahu here. Kauai, Molokai, Maui, they have small enough populations to where solar and storage probably does get the job done. The Big Island's a bit of a question mark because it's a slightly bigger population, but still not huge. And then Oahu is where the majority of people in the state live. So we're really talking about Oahu here. SPF 1000 for you? Yeah, for sure. Hawaii does not share Alaska's time zone. They used to, but now they don't. It's Hawaiian Standard Time because Hawaii has no use for daylight savings time. Why would we change the clocks here? It's more or less the same amount of sunshine every year, always, forever. It's Hawaii. What would the point be of doing daylight savings time? It would be completely useless. So, as for how do you generate baseload power here? Well, there are industries in Hawaii that require large amounts of power. Warehouses, the port, right? Shipping, obviously any military applications, and then just, running the basic electric grid. So you can either do fossil fuels or nuclear. Those are really your two choices. There's also wind. There's some potential for wind on the windward side, but good luck building wind turbines on some of the most expensive, some of the hilliest, and some of the most protected land in the country. You're not going to have a lot of luck with wind here either. You also have to remember, right, Hawaii is a chain of volcanoes, really, is what it is. They're really just mountaintops in the middle of the ocean. So as a result of that, it's pretty steep. Once there's a couple places where you've got some beaches, and the beaches are nice, but you get a mile or two out off the coast, it's fucking deep there. It's kind of like Puerto Rico in that way. It doesn't stay shallow forever. It's not like the Gulf. So with that in mind, it kind of rules out mostly wind power. So your options are build a shit ton of solar and then build battery storage, which comes with its own environmental implications. Burn fossil fuels, which we already know what the environmental implications of those are. Those fossil fuels, by the way, I should note, have to be imported because there's no coal here, there's no oil here, there's no gas here. And even if there were, the locals, rightfully so, would never let you drill here. So that's out of the question. Or you can build a nuclear reactor. Frankly, I think a nuclear reactor on the island of Oahu would have been a fantastic idea in 1965. Nowadays, good luck finding enough land to build one. And again, most of the locals probably wouldn't be chill with it. Even though they frankly should be, since there's a fossil fuel powered plant it's just down the road near Pearl City, on the edge of the harbor, which belches out smoke all the time. So, that's there. That burns not coal, I think it's anymore. I think it just burns oil. Geothermal potential. Okay, so the Big Island, that probably would work because you've got an active volcano there in Mauna Kea. But I don't think Oahu has that. Not to mention, the military may not be chill with you drilling into Oahu. That may be seen as a security risk. Because there are a few other things hidden underground here that are a security potential. It depends on where you go. So that's another one. Like geothermal, you're going to tap into, what's below. All right, that's great in theory, but where are you going to do that? Right? Are you going to do it in one of the national reserves that's potentially sacred to the Hawaiian people? Are you going to do that in the extremely expensive real estate around Honolulu? Are you going to do that on the military bases where the military has absolutely no interest in letting you do that? Where are you going to do it? Now it's a question mark. No. If you ask me, the proper answer would have been in 1960, 1965, 1970, build a nuclear reactor out here and allow that to just pump out enough electricity to keep the island going. Nowadays, Hawaii is already adopting a shit ton of solar, and Tesla, among other manufacturers, has already started putting out battery storage out here. I do not know whether or not that would be cheaper than building a nuclear plant out here, but given the environmental regulations, solar may be the way to go. And realistically, like, electric prices are just high out here. They're like 35 cents a kilowatt hour, which is really on par only with California and the Union. But it's Hawaii. What do you need that much electricity for? Air conditioning? Why would you need that here? It's 80 degrees all the time. Oh no, you have to get used to it being 80 inside your apartment. The horror. You know? If you really need it that bad, you can get a swamp cooler, one of those little portable cooling fans at Costco. You know, that's still a ton better than a full air conditioning unit. Do Hawaiians own Teslas like New Jersey and Texas? So, just a quick clarification here. Hawaiian is an ethnicity, or it's a race. It's not. If you are a resident of Hawaii, that does not make you a Hawaiian. But people in Hawaii do not have. I mean, I've seen a couple Teslas here and there. Certainly nowhere near as much as the West Coast. Probably not as much as the Northeast. More than the Deep South, and I would say it's probably about on par with Texas. Yeah, so Hawaiian refers to the group of people, the Polynesian settlers who originally came here somewhere around 1,000 years ago, who knew the knowledge of the islands and the oceans and the stars to navigate the Pacific. It's the same. Those are the native Hawaiians. Those are the same. They're similar ethnically to a lot of the other Polynesian cultures like Tahiti or Kiribati or Micronesia or any of those groups of people. In the 1800s, settlers from East Asia, settlers from the United States, and settlers from Europe started to show up, and the cultures started to blend. Then you have the annexation of Hawaii, which is a very charged topic around here that, as a white person who only just recently moved here, I should be very, very careful with my words here. So I'm going to not kick that hornet's nest right now. What are residents of Hawaii called then? Because I know Texas residents are called Texans. Right, so that's different. Although even then, a lot of Texans will insist that you got to be born in Texas to truly be a Texan, or you have to have lived more or less all your life in Texas to be a Texan. And something similar occurs in Hawaii. It's called, if you've been here all your life, like you were born here, or you've been here north of 20 years. I think the word they use is gama'aina, which is people of the land. So it's like that's more or less, it's a statement that you're not Hawaiian, but you've lived long enough to where Hawaii justifiably is your home. I am not that either. Not yet. If I were to stay here for a long enough time, in theory, I would become gama'aina, but I'm not that. But, yeah, so residents of Hawaii are not necessarily Hawaiians. Hawaiian is like Jew. It's like black. It's like white. It's like Navajo. It's like you get the idea. It's like Italian or something like that. So you've got it's just, yeah, it's Hawaii residents here is the term I would use. It's something I just learned, and this is one where I've right, because I am brand new to the island, I am white, and I am a worker for the Navy. I'm really going to try, this is something I've really tried to do, is be very considerate of local customs. And really, the goal is just don't piss off the locals, and don't be the quote unquote the stupid haole, or the stupid, even worse, the tourist that gives people from the rest of the United States a bad name. So it's sort of like that. Are most residents Hawaiian or white? So most residents are considered Asian/Pacific Islander ethnically. So Hawaiians only represent, I think the percentage is the smallest on Oahu because there's the most amount of people here and a lot of people from all over the world. Oahu is a massive mixing bowl. The other islands are a little bit higher percentage of Hawaiian, I believe. Oahu but the state of Hawaii at large, I think it's something like 10 to 20% actual like Hawaiian, another like 20 to 50%, or sorry, like another 20% Asian, so Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Filipino, Vietnamese, you get the idea. And then the rest is like another 10 to 20% white, and then the rest is mixed. And it's like, I think 2 to 5% black, I think. There are some black residents of Hawaii. I mean, hell, we had a president who was born here and was black. Like Obama was born here. He's black. So there are black Hawaii residents, but that doesn't still make them ethnically Hawaiian. Yeah, don't be the Logan Paul. Well, it's just like, okay, right. What I've learned, and again, I've only been here for about 10 days, so I do not want anyone to get the impression that I'm like Mr. I know everything about Hawaii, because I really don't. But the basics are obviously be polite, right? Live with aloha. So aloha isn't just, the famous greeting everyone knows that also means goodbye. Aloha is sort of a way of life here. It's a spirit of kindness, of friendliness. It's a spirit of love. It's like, it's a spirit of being very friendly with people. So if you drive aloha, right, that means, if you let someone in traffic, they throw you a shaka, you throw them a shaka back, something like that. Respect the aina, right? So that's, be very cognizant of your impact on the local islands, because Hawaii is a really beautiful place, and these islands are unique. There's no other place in the world like the Hawaiian Islands. So to protect them, you should take extra care. So if you're on the beach and you see trash, respect the aina, pick it up. If you are, trying to live a more environmentally friendly life, lower your carbon footprint, consider using the bus or the rail, or carpooling, or driving a smaller car, or cycling to work once a week, whatever. Respect the aina. That's the idea. Now I'm intimidated and scared to visit Alaska and Hawaii. They're so different. I have to learn the culture like I'm in a foreign country. You don't really have that on the mainland. Well, Arkansas is very different from New Jersey, and I feel like we're all African American. So people in Hawaii, this is a U.S. state. Same with Alaska. They're still states, just like any of the other 50, or the other 49 in this instance. But it's just, there are certain things, right? You got to remember, they're in the same way, right? You know how people in Texas have a lot of pride for being Texan because Texas was an independent country at one point? Well, Texas wasn't the only state that was an independent country. Hawaii was not only an independent country, but an independent kingdom for decades. And as a result of that, there is a very unique culture here. It's also wonderful. It's a blend of, you have influences from all over the world. You've got Portuguese, you've got lots and lots of East Asian, you've got Polynesian, you've got Native Hawaiian, you've got American. It's a really great blend of stuff. It's the reason, if you go to McDonald's in Hawaii, you can get a meal that consists of scrambled eggs, 2 scoops of rice, Spam, come on, right, and Portuguese sausage. That's just like a thing. You won't find that in any other place. If you go to 7-Eleven, you can walk into a 7-Eleven, and I have done this, and get a Spam musubi, which is a little kind of rectangular shaped cube of not cube, but like a rectangular prism shape of rice with a piece of spam over the top and wrapped with a little bit of seaweed. It is delicious. My favorite variety is teriyaki because I'm basic, but you can get a spam musubi, and you can get a ube flavored ice cream bar, which is ube is a purple not even Japanese, sorry, purple Okinawan sweet potato. It's not a perfect parallel, but Okinawa sort of is to Japan what Hawaii is to the United States. It's part of the country, but the culture is very different. I've lived in both Okinawa, Japan, the rest of the United States, and now Hawaii as well. So I see a fair amount of similarities there. But so, did I study a lot about Hawaii prior? Yeah, I did a fair amount of learning. I'm doing a little bit of Duolingo on Olelo Hawai'i, just because, not because it's really useful. Nobody speaks. Well, okay, a couple people do speak Hawaiian here, and there are people who speak Hawaiian in the home, but it's mostly English or Pidgin Hawaiian. Sorry, Hawaiian Pidgin, I think. I think those are two different things. But either way, yeah, if you're coming to Hawaii, right, it's the same thing you should do if you were to go to South Carolina, in the sense of, or Texas. You should try and learn a little something about the culture beyond the stereotypes that everybody tells you about. Dogfeed89, my balls are hard right now. What should I do? That is a question right there. I don't know how I could respond to that without breaking Twitch TOS, so I'm going to go ahead and leave that one. But welcome. Thanks for the first time, chat. Hawaii was overthrown by the U.S., if I recall. So, I really don't... I'm going to kind of simplify things here, and I'm not by any means the person you should ask for a thorough and accurate history of what happened. But in the late 1800s, Hawaii was a kingdom ruled by a family, and in the 1870s, I believe, before the annexation, there was a deal between, I want to say it was Kamehameha III, and I want to say it was the Grant administration, for Hawaii to lease Pearl Harbor to the U.S. Navy as a coaling station, which was a security interest for the United States to do Pacific trading. And this is just after, right, gunboat diplomacy, opening up Japan, Commodore Perry, all that stuff. In the 1890s, a group of mostly white landowning individuals who own mostly sugarcane and pineapple plantations, led by Sanford Dole, that's where the Dole Pineapple Company comes from, orchestrated... So a lot of the landowners, they had bought land, they legally bought land from the original ali'i, I believe is the correct Hawaiian term, the original people who owned the land, although land ownership in the Hawaiian sense was very different. It's similar to a lot of other native groups where land ownership doesn't necessarily mean in the native culture what it does in the American culture or in Western culture. But that's going down a really long rabbit hole we don't have time for. But most of the landowners wanted to switch Hawaii from being a kingdom to a republic. So in 1893, Queen Liliuokalani, I believe I said that right. Again, apologies to any other people from this state who are watching this, because I feel like I've butchered so many names today. I'm trying my hardest, but Hawaiian names are difficult to learn if you are new to the island. But I'm trying my best there. So the Republic of Hawaii was established after Queen Liliuokalani was overthrown in 1893. At that point, I believe it was the Queen, I could have this wrong, that requested help from the U.S. Marines. U.S. Marines got there and sided with the people who created the Republic. In a few years later, it got annexed, and then 50 years later, it became a state in 1959. I'm glossing over so much stuff, and again, to any residents of Hawaii, if you want to correct me on any of that, please do. I'm trying to keep it simple. But as a result of that, there are some, to put it mildly, tensions and legitimate grievances that people in the state have with the American government, to the extent where, in 1993, the Clinton administration and the Senate, the Congress at the time, released a resolution acknowledging the foul play that occurred a century earlier. That doesn't heal the wounds, but basically, the way the United States acquired Hawaii was shady at best. However, that being said, it did turn out for the best for Hawaii, in my opinion, because if we hadn't done it, the Japanese would have a few decades later. And you can ask any Filipino, Okinawan, Chinese person, Taiwanese person, Indonesian, Vietnamese, anyone from East Asia, Korean especially, just how nice the Imperial Japanese were. They were unbelievably brutal. That does not justify the United States' actions in any way, but realistically, this was probably the best case scenario for Hawaii in the long run. As a result, Hawaii also has the highest life expectancy of anywhere in the United States, has higher development indices than anywhere else in the Pacific Islands. I don't believe there are any other Pacific Islander countries that come close. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but so there have been some benefits. There have also been some major drawbacks. The Navy has fucked up at Red Hill in particular very recently with the water supply. A little bit of jet fuel got in and a couple petrochemical byproducts ended up leaking out of one of the fuel storage containers into the water supply, which is, again, talking about respect to Aina, water is the most important thing here. And there isn't another source. It's an island in the middle of a saltwater ocean. What you're getting from the rain that filters through the rocks into the land, into the aquifers, that's your water supply. So you can't fuck with it. And the Navy did, and the Navy fucked up. What I've talked about, I actually know a couple people who have worked on the remediation project. It seems like things have gotten better, but locals are very pissed about that, and very justifiably so. As for walls replaced, you look 100 times better. I got a spray tan. I'm also biking a lot. I have my e-bike is how I get around now, so I'm burning just stupid amounts of calories every day. So the cut cycle is going pretty well. I think I'm at like 223 is what I weighed in at today. I should write that down. There we go. But I have also naturally tanned quite a bit because I spend a lot of time outside, and the sun is very intense here. Short of Puerto Rico, you're not getting more intense sunshine than in... Actually, I'd take that back. Short of Puerto Rico or probably Arizona, or parts of California maybe. But you get the idea. I believe Texas is trying to become its own country again. No, it's not. The people who want Texas secession are small and are very small in number, right? And this is now Hawaii. I will say Hawaii has the best argument in terms of why they should be able to become an independent country, but you're way better off in the union than you are out of it. That includes, and that's just my opinion, but that includes Hawaii, that includes Texas, that includes California. We're all better together. We may get on each other's nerves state to state, but we're better off together. I'm a real strong, and the other thing is it's illegal. You cannot secede from the United States. That was determined illegal in 1869 with Texas v. White. So, yeah, Texit is bullshit. I don't know one person in Texas that supports that. Everyone I've talked to says, yeah, we like to, we got swagger. It's the same thing like don't mess with Texas. Like, that's a litter campaign, right? Texans are really proud of being from Texas. That doesn't mean they want Texas to become a country again, because that would be stupid. That would be super self-destructive. The amount of economic damage you would be doing to your country is just unreal. If the sun is very strong, there's probably a lot of skin cancer. Some, but not as much as, say, Arizona. And it's also because, right, the local population is a lot less white. So a lot of the local population produces more melanin, which is why they have darker skin tones, because they have darker skin tones. They're more genetically equipped to deal with the sun. Now, unfortunately, my white ass doesn't have that protection. So I have to use a lot of sunscreen, and I need to be better at that. But, you know, it is what it is. But I appreciate that, Damraf. Yeah, it's because I've been, I got a spray tan because I've been doing some modeling work. Go check the Discord if you want to see a picture of me doing some modeling work. Yeah. If you guys want more, let's get to 2,000. If we can get to 2,000 followers, then we're done. I think we're at then I'll post more. I think we're at like 1988, 1989. So if you're new to the channel and you would like to get more content, please, by all means, follow. There we go. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of water real quick because I am getting quite thirsty. I will say, I currently live fairly close to where the original water issues were found a couple years ago, and the water tastes fine to me. I haven't noticed any adverse effects, and I just drink the straight tap water. So I think it seems like the danger is past. That being said, it's a trust issue that, again, justifiably, the locals should have some serious reservations about letting, you know, the Navy handle its fuel storage there. I keep your people saying it's succeeding, not succeeding. Succeeding is to achieve something or to win something, right? Or to that's like the gerund of success, I believe. Secede is S-E-C-E-D-E. Just letting you know. Laws mean absolute shit. Since one is leaving something a civil process is not require a war, can't be punished unless you fail to lose the war and don't gain independence. Right, so that's the thing. Do you really think any state, be that Hawaii, be that California, be that Texas, can take on the single greatest fighting force the world has ever seen and will ever see? The U.S. military? Good fucking luck. You're not going to win that. So, modeling work. So I was... Yeah, so I had... I'll go ahead and say this again. Let me grab some water first. Get thirsty. So to recap, and this is why I have the title of the stream the way I do. But I got approached by a modeling director after leaving the gym one day. We hit it off, and we had my first modeling shoot today. I never thought I'd be modeling stuff out here. Right now we're just building out a portfolio. So the way it works is you build a modeling portfolio of like pictures of you in different items, doing different poses, and then the modeling director sends that off to different clients, and the clients say, you know, they have a little lookbook, and they look through and say, oh, I'd like this person or this person to model this or that piece of clothing, and then you go from there. There are also shows like runway shows, which I might be doing in August. We will see, but it'd be pretty good. I have faith you can lead Hawaii to its independence. Oh, God. No. I hope you didn't get that impression. I don't know. Absolutely not. First off, I am an American citizen. I am not Hawaiian. I have only been on this island for 10 days. First off, even if I did support Hawaii independence, which I don't, I would be the absolute last person to lead it. Second off, while there are very legitimate grievances the state and the people of Hawaii have against the United States government, it would be self-destructive, in my opinion, for Hawaii to become an independent country. It would also never happen. Pearl Harbor is the only natural harbor within like a 2,000-mile radius, and for the United States military to project power, it is far too important for the U.S. to ever let go. Aren't you a Texan? Yes. Okay, so I wasn't born in Texas, but I've spent more time in Texas than in any other place in the world. That being said, while Texans are prideful, one, they don't want to take on the U.S. military. Texans very strongly support the U.S. military, and in most cases make up a large chunk of the U.S. military. The state of Texas, while people are proud of being Texan, people are also very proud of being American in Texas. You have to remember, Texas is a socially conservative state. Texans are right. Go look at the way July 4th is celebrated, right? July 4th is celebrated very similarly, in fact, probably even more so than San Jacinto Day. That is the true Texas Independence Day, was celebrated. So the Battle of San Jacinto was probably the turning stone that secured Texas independence in 1836 from Mexico, if you're interested. No, Texas could not take on the U.S. military. Texas would be a very formidable opponent, but the United States military is comprised of the other 49 states, and as great as Texas is, no, you're not winning that. First off, nuclear weapons alone, that's not happening, because the nukes aren't stored in Texas. But while you would never use the nuclear solution in that regard, right, the federal bases aren't just going to, they wouldn't just get naturally turned over to Texas. You're not, no state is going to leave the Union. And any state who would wish to do so is probably doing a lot of damage. And to be honest, a lot of people who suggest Texan secession or Californian secession, or even to an extent Hawaiian secession, a lot of people who are suggesting that, not all of them, are people with an ulterior motive, people who want to see the United States fail and crumble. Mostly from a certain country that likes to have a red and yellow flag with 5 stars on it and is very, very good at social engineering. They own a company called TikTok. I have a lot of respect for the strong Chinese economy, but make no mistake. So China historically has been the cultural center of, it kind of been the center of the world, in the sense of economically and culturally all roads led to China. In the 20th century, that became the United States, and the Chinese fucking hate that. The Chinese want to see the United States fall apart. So do the Russians, mostly because the Russians, well, mismanaged their way out of being an empire, Soviet Union, because they thought communism would work for some stupid fucking reason. Texas will not. The modeling director is probably into me. Okay, a lot of people are into me. Whatever. Texas wanted to enter into alliance with Russia. Dream the fuck on, man. If you really believe, you're either lying, shitposting, trolling, or you are insane. What makes you think the other 49 states would? No. Oh my God. First off, if you think Texans and Oklahomans agree on a whole lot, you're gravely mistaken. Second off, again, the other. You're putting your entire question is absurd. 99.99% of Texans are very happy to stay in the United States. Thank you very much. No, the USSR was not socialism. The USSR was communist. Okay, let's not get into this. Oh, what's socialism and what's communism debate? That's a waste of everyone's time. But no, look. The USSR was effectively Russian Empire 2.0. It failed because communism was it was a bad economic system. And as a result, most Russians, at least in the Russian government, are rather bitter because they watched their empire fall. There is a lot of truth to that, and they'd like to see the United States empire, if you want to call it that, fall as well. Look, Stalin was a communist, okay? Right. If Stalin was not a communist, then who is a communist at that point? Why do people bring up socialism, whatever the fuck? I'm confused. Okay, so if you want to go by the academic term, socialism is means of production are owned by the workers. Communism is the quote-unquote classless, moneyless, blah, blah, blah state. But that's all stupid shit Marx put on a piece of paper 150 years ago that most people who call themselves either socialists or communists don't actually feel like going about and doing. What happens in almost any socialistic or communistic system is that an opportunistic group of people seizes power and becomes the new dictatorship. There you go. There aren't really any examples of a non-dictatorship socialist or communist country out there. What, you want to point at North Korea? That's like the biggest dictatorship in that's probably the strictest and harshest dictatorship in the world right now. And hell, honestly, even what they are anymore is Juche, which is a very weird offshoot of communism. But People bring up socialism because you've got this, right? Socialism is similar to capitalism in that there's a lot of flavors of it. You've got democratic socialism, you've got social democracy, which is yet a further dilution of the term. But there's lots of middle ground. But if you're someone who says you're a communist, usually what that means you are in favor of the styles of governance seen in the Soviet Union or in Maoist China. That's usually what it means. And if any person in the 21st century thinks that is a good way to run an economy, they have issues. That's all I'm going to say. They're not to be reasoned with. If you are a full-blown communist in the year 2020-2024, I've got nothing to say to you anymore. Like it'd be like mud wrestling a pig. It's not worth it. Okay, Cuba is communist, right? But what economic system did Castro implement in Cuba in the 1960s? He copied the model the Soviet Union had. And as a result, Cuba's economy more or less is just stagnated. Now, does that necessarily mean the reign of Fulgencio Bautista was better beforehand? No, Bautista was a bastard, and I can understand why the Cubans went communist. I still don't think that makes it a better system. Sir, I'm the year of the pig. So am I. Pigs shouldn't wrestle with pigs. Social democracy is not socialism. So there's social democracy and democratic socialism. I think that's the line. Social democracy is kind of like the pure middle point between capitalism and socialism. And then democratic socialism is just to the left of that, so to speak. I think that's how that works. Communism is a political system. Socialism is an economic system. Well, they're kind of tied at the hip because either one, unless you're anarcho-communist, which is just detached from reality. Anarcho anything is detached from reality. But if you believe in one, you usually end up believing in the other because most systems that try to implement socialism, right? You've got ownership of the workers, right? So the workers own the means of production. That's the idea behind socialism. So if you are in support of that, how do you make that happen? Well, you've got to use the government to make that happen. And the government therefore has to become a quote unquote vanguard of the proletariat or the workers' state. Oh look, we fell right into the Soviet Union. I have an old friend from high school who's an anarcho-capitalist. He's fucking deluded. Anarcho-capitalism is about as realistic as anarcho-communism. It'll never happen. It'll never happen. Anarcho-anything is a waste of time. If you believe in anarcho-anything in the modern day, what you are is an academic gadfly. Like you're not in touch with political reality. There's a very big difference between a libertarian and an anarcho-capitalist. That's not necessarily true. Most libertarians do believe there should be some form of government, but that government should be much smaller. There is a very big difference between that and anarcho-capitalism, which is no government. Socialism is not a combination of capitalism and communism. The definition of socialism is the workers own the means of production. That's what the definition of socialism is. Now, there is, again, social democracy and democratic socialism, which I will agree, do have some elements of capitalism thrown in. But I think what a lot of people call socialist in the modern parlance is more the Nordic model, which is still it's really a welfare capitalism. The model you see in countries like Denmark, Sweden, Finland, Norway. Norway's doesn't really work anywhere else because Norway gets shit tons of oil money that they just save, which is really smart on their part. But like, you can't just say, oh well, Norway does it this way, let's do it like Norway did. That won't work in most other countries. Either way, I'm not a fan of any of those left-wing economic systems. I'm right of center economically. I'm not far right by any means, but in general, I'm a pretty big fan of capitalism. I should be, given that, I'm pretty successful in the current system, so why would I want it to change? People will say they're socialists in more than just an economic way, so what does that mean if it's just an economic system? Well, I mean, really, if you're socialist politically, you're advocating for the government to implement socialism, and if the government's the one implementing socialism, then what's the difference between that and communism? Then the answer is there isn't one. And then traditional Marxists say, oh, the state will just wither away after that, which is silly. That won't ever happen, because that's not how people work upstairs. People like power, and positions with power tend to attract people who want power, for better or for worse. So, I like Scandinavian, which you say would copy the Nordic model. I want universal health care, which is why I need Biden over Trump. Okay, neither is going to give you universal health care. Universal health care, a lot of Americans, I don't think, understand the consequences that come with universal health care. If you want universal health care, you need to be willing to pay quite a bit more in taxes, and moreover, you need to be willing to pay more in junk food taxes, because the United States eats a really poor diet on average. The biggest reason the United States lags a lot of European countries in terms of healthcare is twofold. And when I say healthcare, I mean like life expectancy. First reason's diet, the second reason's exercise. That's it. We as Americans statistically walk less, move less, and we eat more and eat worse than most Europeans do. The biggest reason for this is that the European countries tax junk food and build walkable spaces or bikeable spaces. We can do that in the United States, but a lot of the time we choose not to. And it doesn't require massive government intervention to create that. Hey, Raccoon City Survivor. Ozempic is a Band-Aid. Ozempic doesn't fix the problem. It does, right? So Ozempic does reduce the chemicals in your brain that tell you you're hungry. However, that doesn't replace all the vitamins and nutrients your body needs that you get from fresh fruits, vegetables, meats, whole grain. You get the idea. All the good foods for you that are nowhere to be found in junk food. You still have to eat properly, or you are going to suffer health effects. It doesn't matter who you are or what drugs you're taking. It's closely tied to communism. They're not the same thing, but they lead to similar outcomes, given, as you mentioned, corruption of power. Bingo. Looking for the last time I saw you. I am cutting. So right now, I started my cut, late February. About 3 months in. I'll be done in July. I've got about 10 more pounds I'd like to shed. And, yeah. Taxes, yes, taxes do need to increase. If you want universal health care, taxes need to increase. If you want benefits like a European country, you have to levy taxes like a European country. That's just how math works. We can't just deficit spend into oblivion. Right? You do have to increase taxes. How do you keep it down while maintaining your muscle? Okay, so this is a great. We'll change topics here because I've talked about that already. If you want European style benefits, you have to be willing to pay European style taxes. That doesn't just mean income taxes. That means junk food taxes. That means taxes on added fats or sugars. That means higher taxes on gasoline. That means higher taxes on consumption. You get the idea. So, are you planning on going more lean? About 5 to 10 pounds, but not much more. Why do you bulk? Well, I bulked because I wanted to get my numbers in the gym up, and I did. It worked out really, really well. In fact, I hit a ton of PRs. So how do you keep weight? How are you basically maintaining muscle but losing fat? The key here is to eat enough calories to be in a deficit. So, right, how do you lose weight? You lose weight by being in a calorie deficit. You must eat less than you burn. That is not even a law of biology. That's a law of thermodynamics, right? So, okay, great. So you're in a calorie deficit, but it can't be too big Because if your calorie deficit is too big, now you're burning muscle, and that's bad. You don't want to be doing that. That's your body's entering starvation mode. You don't want to deal with that. In general, I would say a calorie deficit between 250 if you're more advanced and you really want to preserve muscle, or if you've got 20 to 30 pounds to lose, you can go 500, 750, even 1,000. I wouldn't go more than a 1,000 calorie deficit per day. But a calorie deficit within those ranges. For me, I like to be on the 250 to 500 per day side. For me, because right now I am burning just tons and tons of calories cycling everywhere, I would love nothing more than to be able to track that with like a smartwatch or something like that. But I'm not going to buy a Garmin or something like that until I can actually wear it at work, because it defeats the purpose if I have to do something like that. So does it transfer when you get lean? The strength does. So right, on any cut cycle you will lose a little bit of strength, but if you hit a bulk, right, you will be able to preserve most of that muscle provided you cut slowly enough. So if you're in a calorie deficit, so right, we're going through the thermodynamic laws have been satisfied. Now you got to have the correct diet. So you need enough protein in your diet, because protein, when you lift weights, what you're doing is you're tearing the little fibers in your muscles, right? So if I do some bicep curls, right, this repeated action right here with heavy weight, that high resistance, is tearing muscles in my biceps. So now, okay, great. Well, how do I build muscle? I have to eat protein. Then when I consume protein, my liver synthesizes it, sends it through the bloodstream to the affected tissue, and the protein gets converted into muscle tissue. That's more or less, it's a simplified version, but there you go. Why are you bulking? Why not stay the same weight and train? Because I've found better results on the bulk and cut cycle. If you find that staying at the same weight and training is a better method, more power to you. I probably will stay around, once I finish this cut, I'm probably not going to do another bulk, because I'm pretty happy with the way I look. Are you on any PEDs? No, I'm natty. Right, I have to be. With my old job, I got tested, and I'm probably going to get tested at my new job, so I can't take steroids even if I wanted to. Are you 220? Right now, 223. Ex-Democrat went through all our political shifts in the late teens and now 20s. A lot of rules for you, not for me. A lot of anti-constitutional action that happened. That's the direction the country's heading. Hope things get better. Yeah, one who walks through fire. There are things politically that I'm not happy with right now, but I'm an eternal optimist. I'm a centrist politically. So in South Carolina, I was a Democrat. Here in Hawaii, I might be a Republican. I'm not really sure. I need to do a little bit more research into local politics. Thank you very much, JJ. I missed you too. Let's see. There's less people in town if you... Okay, I'm trying to catch up on chat here. Let's see. I'm not on PEDs. Appreciate you calling me a good Jared. You look good. She feels like you're not building functional strength. Can tell by your physique. That seems like a very backhanded compliment. What do you mean by functional strength? I mean, for instance, today I can actually tell you I did squat, front squats, good mornings, leg curls, Romanian deadlifts, calves, leg extensions, hack squats, raider pulls, and abs. I'm Nat too. I appreciate the sub, JJ. Thank you very much. You don't need to increase as your example. Yes, okay. Switzerland is a small country that has incredible wealth per capita because it's a hub of the global financial and banking system. Right? You do need to increase taxes to pay for healthcare. The Swiss pay more in tax than we do in the United States. We currently have massive fiscal deficits in Congress every year right now. So the idea that we could somehow not increase taxes but create a brand new national healthcare system or universal healthcare system and somehow make the math work on that budget is delusional. How many ab workouts to get well-defined abs? So I do like ab exercises in my room, but I also do like the machines in the gym because you can get better resistance on those. Right, I love doing sit-ups or Russian twists or something like that in my room, but after a certain point, that gets fairly easy. To be honest, I mean, okay, Raccoon, if you call my abs well-defined, which I would say, kind of. The top four, right, if I do this, if I'm flexing, you can see pretty well, good definition here and here. The bottom, not quite as much. That's because I need to lose a little bit more fat, but do I do calisthenics a lot? Any cardio? Yeah, I cycle a lot, especially out here in Hawaii. I use a bike to get basically anywhere. But how many ab workouts? There's not a concrete number I can just spit out and say this many abs and you shall, or this many ab workouts and you shall get defined abs. No, what you have to do is consistently train your abs the way you would any other muscle, but then you also have to eat correctly because otherwise your abs will be covered by fat. I also recommend doing squats. If you are doing squats and deadlifts too, you're doing squats and deadlifts properly, your core, your abdominal muscles should be engaged. In fact, it's a safety precaution that they do stay engaged. If you are doing squats and your core is not engaged, you run the risk of rounding your back and causing an injury. You want to keep your core very stable through workouts. Ab crunch machines, 25 to 35 pounds, 25 to 35 reps per set, 4 sets. I would say, Raccoon, increase the weight a little bit and do more sets of maybe 12 to 20 instead of 25 to 35. Bull has a lot of fat. I wouldn't say I have a lot of fat. I mean, seems like your early middle ages, no offense, it seems like you're trying to troll, man. I mean, I literally just got back from a modeling shoot, so I wouldn't say I've got a lot of fat. I've got a few pounds here and there that I could use, I could stand to lose to get a little bit more definition, but like, you can see some abdominal definition as it is. I just do weighted crunches so I feel a fun burn. That's the other one too. If you're doing your abs properly, by the end of it, you should feel a burn. There are great exercises. You can do cable crunches, you can do leg raises, you can do crunch machines, you can do hanging sit-ups. So like the ones where you're kind of suspended, like your feet are locked in, like you hook your feet around the little the pads, and then you put your butt on the other pads, and then you can hold a plate to your chest and go like down well beyond parallel. That's a really great one to work your lower abs. I'm not trolling. I think you're good looking, but not as lean as I could be. I mean, sure, but okay, yeah, that's correct. But there's a very big difference between not as lean as I could be and has a lot of fat. What the fuck am I eating? Right? If I have a lot of fat, what the fuck am I eating? That's some I weigh 300 pounds type shit. So you're definitely not eating right. Okay, that's real nice to hear. I'm glad you know that I'm not eating correctly. You're telling me that I'm not eating right, even though you have no idea what I eat or how I eat or what my calorie targets are. You're training, but I can see my diet isn't good. How would you know that? You don't know what I eat. Okay. For instance, today, so far I had a salad with some poke, which is out here it's just raw fish. So that was pretty high protein. I'll put it this way, my macro targets right now for my cut cycle are 2,900 calories and about 220 grams of protein. Yeah, that sounds like a lot, but remember, I'm 6'3", 220 pounds, and I lift. So on any given day, I'm usually burning well above 3,000, and I don't want a calorie deficit any more than 250 to 500. Yo, simply too deep. Good to see. Gladly pay more taxes over Americans than millions are taking out. $1,000 a month car notes. Yes, in general, Americans do have a spending problem. I would agree with that. But simply too deep, looking hot. Well, I appreciate that. Again, I came back from a modeling shoot earlier, so feeling pretty good about the way I look right now. I agree, I could lose more, but what else did I have today? I had a protein shake, 240 calories, 48 grams of protein. Power bar, 190 calories, 16 grams of protein. And then I will say I indulged a little bit. I had some teriyaki ahi tuna jerky, but this is basically pure protein. That being said, right, so when I finished my bulk, I was at 230 pounds. I definitely had plenty of excess adipose tissue, excess fat on me then. And I'm not denying that I don't look perfect right now, but I don't have a lot of fat. And it does take time, right? A cut cycle is multiple months long, especially at a fairly advanced level, which, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and admit I'm there, right? I've been lifting for, 15, 16 years of my life. I kind of am at the point where I need to, when I'm running a calorie deficit, it needs to be a fairly mild one. So, and I've noticed this on days where I run a slightly bigger deficit, I notice I'm way down on power in the gym, and I don't want that. Do you see Usyk's physique? I don't know who Usyk is. He's the same weight and height. Let's see here. I don't know who this Usyk fella is, but sure, why not? But yeah, no, I'm not saying my physique is perfect. It's very clearly not. But it's not, to quote what you said, I have a lot of extra fat. I don't have a lot of extra fat. I have probably a solid 5 to 10 pounds I could probably stand to lose. So, okay, so hold up. This Usyk fella, right. This guy is a professional boxer. You're really gonna compare me to a professional athlete? You think that's the standard? My guy. Okay, some of us have day jobs. Right, yeah, no, I don't look like a fucking professional boxer. I'm just an engineer who does lifting for fun, dude. The boxer that beat Tyson Fury. Yeah, okay. Yes, I don't have the same physique of a champion boxer. What the, dude, your standard is insanely high. If that's what if that's the only thing a good body can be, like, Jesus Christ, dude. But no, I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I definitely don't have a lot of fat to lose. I have some. Again, I would say, another 5 to 10 pounds, get down to around 210, 215. I'd be pretty happy with that. The other thing is, too, every so often, yeah, I like to indulge. I'd like to go out for a Loco Moco. I'd like to go out for a slice of pizza, right? Life is short. And food is sometimes a nice thing to have. Or, if I'm out with friends, right? If they want to go and get fried chicken, I don't want to be the stick in the mud who sits there and just, sips on water. Nah, that's not fun. I'm not a professional athlete, okay? Like, again, he's great. Dude's absolutely fucking yoked. But, like, I guess where I'm going with this is early Middle Ages. You have to remember, I'm just a Twitch streamer. I'm not a fucking professional. I thought that was pretty self-explanatory. But yeah, no, I'm not saying my body's perfect. I never have claimed that, but that's a bit wild. But I appreciate you. I mean, I agree. I don't look perfect, but I'm all right. I'm okay with how this is now. I think it could look better. I think in a couple of months it will. I do think my diet's on the right track on the basis that over the last few months I've lost about 10 pounds. So, right, so I've lost 10 pounds on my current diet, the same macros, so it would stand to reason then that, maybe adjust my calorie intake 150, somewhere around there, drop it a little bit more, but not too much tweaking. I mean, I really do want a very slow, gradual weight loss, because that's how you get preservation of muscle mass. As for functional fitness, a couple other things I do. Occasionally will throw a little punching bag session. Used to do this at my house in South Carolina because I had access to it. Right now I don't, so I have to find a substitute. I go for walks, especially on the beach out here, but right now it's mostly walking and cycling as my cardio. And it's not even really cardio I go out and intend to do, it's just I have to get places, and a bicycle helps me do that quickly. So, trying to get higher protein with less calories. Good ways of doing that relatively inexpensively are canned tuna. Just don't eat too much because it does have mercury in it. Or check to make sure that it's mercury free. You can get eggs, are pretty solid with that. Don't eat too many because they are high in cholesterol. But in general, the links between cholesterol and heart disease are starting to get the scientific community seems to be a bit jury is out on that subject at the moment. But it's like moderation. Don't eat a dozen eggs a day. Duh. High quality fish, whey protein's fine. Milk is good for you. You can have lots of vegetable proteins as well. Broccoli's got protein. Peas have got protein. Soy has protein. Again, don't eat a shit ton of any one item. Have a balanced diet. But when you do that, you'll find that you get enough protein, and just count you don't have to be religious. You don't have to weigh everything a little micro scale. But in general, you can look up, like, Nutritionix is the website I use. Gives me a good general idea of, hey, how much have I eaten? How much do I have left to eat? What if I had nothing but protein shakes? If you had nothing but protein shakes, you would be nutritionally deficient. You would be missing a lot of key vitamins and minerals that a protein shake, or really any one food, is not going to have. Same reason I'm not a huge fan of, like, carnivore diets. Carnivore diet will give you lots of protein, lots of iron, lots of other minerals, but there are some basic vitamins that you can get in vegetables that meat doesn't have. You'd either have to take a multivitamin or you'd have to eat some vegetables. We're humans. We're meant to have a variety of foods. That's what seems to be the healthiest diet, at least in terms of life expectancy. Personally space them out so you don't get the protein farts. VoXOXO, welcome on in. Thanks for the first time chat. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the bullpen. Hope you're enjoying it. Obviously, y'all, I'm just doing a lot of talking today. I don't have the ability to do a lifting stream yet. That should hopefully change in the future, but no promises at the moment. We're still figuring out how this is going to look. 4 protein shakes would get... Yeah, okay, so in terms of macros, 200 grams of protein and 1,280 calories is terrific. However, you would feel like shit because you're not getting enough vitamins and minerals for a balanced diet. So you need to add vegetables and even some whole grains to your diet. Or take a multivitamin. I recommend... I'm just in general a bigger fan of getting my nutrients from food instead of from pills, but to each their own. A modeling stream like posing or flexing, I could do that. That wouldn't be a bad option. Maybe I'll throw some pictures into the Discord, but we haven't gotten any follows yet, so that was really hoping to get a few more follows today. We are so close to 2,000, we just can't quite seem to crack it. But for those of you who didn't know, on my Discord channel, I'm going to go ahead and pump that one more time. I went ahead and released one picture from the modeling shoot today. I should have more, and I do have more. For those of you looking to check that out, by all means, come join the Discord. We've got a great little community there. So if you've got questions, or you want to pick my brain on something, or you just want to hang out, talk story, that's the place to do it. Let me see if the Discord has anything, speaking of. Doesn't look like it. Oh, hey. Fireball, thank you very much for the raid. Welcome on in. Good to see you. Have not seen you in a hot minute, Fireball. How are you doing? PG Triggervel, thank you very much for the first time chat there, smartass. Is that the new Pixel 8a? Dream on, man. It's an ancient Motorola. Nope. It is a Moto G8 Power. This thing is, I think I bought it refurbed and it cost me $150. Thank you very much for the shout out. Let me go ahead and shout you out there, Fireball. Fireball 734. Yeah, no, Motorola tends to make really good, affordable phones. And the dirty little secret about phones is they're all made in China anyway, so you might as well buy the one that's the cheapest and not give China any more money than you have to. There are some semiconductors that go into phones that are made in Taiwan, but good luck hunting out whether or not your phone has a TSMC semiconductor versus not. Yo, what's up, Lab Boys? Good to see you. Gonna go ahead and give my main man Lab a shout out here. Phone costed me $999. I mean, hey, more power to you. If you want to spend that money on a phone, you do you, but I ain't doing that shit. I got other things to spend money on here, mostly food. I will say I have gotten sticker shock here. The cost of living in Hawaii is notoriously high for a reason, and food is a big part of that. But if you eat like an islander, it's a little bit more affordable than if you eat like a mainlander. More fish, less meat, way less dairy. Also Costco. Costco is a fucking lifesaver out here. When is the Pit Viper stream? Well, it would have been today, but as I said earlier, the mail room's closed. So, what's in the pocket, Oli? My wallet. iPad helped me through nursing school instead of getting a laptop. Hey, more power to you. I have a laptop that this laptop, it's a Dell. I don't even know what kind of laptop it is. It's from like 2018. I bought it used. Hawaii doesn't only have a Costco, it's got Oahu alone has 3. One in Kalihi Kai, one in Hawaii Kai, and one in Kapolei. Uses Apple products for his job. Ugh. I think Apple is so overrated. You're paying 50% more for something only 90% as good as a lot of Android phones. Whereas this thing's only 80% as good as most other Android phones, but it costs 20% of the price. And frankly, phones were good enough in 2019, and the improvements from 2019 to 2024 weren't enough to justify, in my opinion, an additional $850 in cost. That's just, yeah, the Hawaii tan is showing. You look a lot more tan. And I remember I got a spray tan yesterday, y'all. Again, that was part of the whole thing with the modeling shoot. They had me go, and oh my god, I gotta say. So when I went from Kaka'ako Waterfront Park for the bike rally over to Waikiki to get the spray tan, I got more drenched than I think I had ever been in my life. The skies just opened up. It's been unseasonably wet here on Oahu like the last week. It's supposed to start drying out as the trade winds come back through from the east, so fingers crossed. Handsome squibber looking ass. Bro. I care about phones per iPad over Android tablet. Yeah, but I will say it is partially a natural tan. It's mostly the spray tan, but I've been getting plenty of sunshine here. Trying my best to use sunscreen so that way I don't, get absolutely torched. But want the U.S. to invest more in Indian and African countries. It scares me to see Russia's China's Belt and Road Initiative coming for nations we should be approaching. I agree. The one I would love to see the United States approach more right now is Argentina, because they could use the economic help, and Javier Milei is trying to take their economy in a much more pro-capitalist, pro-Western direction. That's one I would very much love to see the United States try and get buddy-buddy with, would be Argentina. Frankly, in general, I think the United States... India would be another one I would love to see the United States get a little bit warmer ties to. But I think the United States, once the unpleasantness in Ukraine is settled, or at least comes to a stasis, I would love to see the United States focus a lot more on the Western Hemisphere, including Central and South America. Try to become better stewards of the Western Hemisphere. Try to become better partners with a lot of Central and South America. I think we could stand to have a lot better relations with most of Latin America. Argentina is a perpetual basket case, but that's because they've mismanaged their economy for the last 100 years. Javier Milei, to his credit, has basically said, I no plata. there is no more money. We cannot continue to do this. There's going to be some pain involved, but we are going to achieve financial sanity again. And I have a lot of respect for that. Currently eating Kirkland Greek yogurt with vanilla, protein powder, frozen blueberries. It is a pretty solid dessert. I got some local honey from Hawaii. You know what? I got to show you guys this. Hang on a sec. So this is from the islands. It's a giant thing of organic honey. I found this at Costco, but it's actually locally made. That's the other thing too. You know, a lot of times when you buy local, you end up having to spend a lot more money. Here, because of import costs, buying local can also be more effective. But this is made in, let's see here. It's Kamuela, Hawaii, 96743. I believe that's on Oahu. Let's find out. Sensitive to honey. Okay, but still, you can find fruit here. Again, this is another one. The pineapples here just taste like a different fruit. They're so much better than the pineapples anywhere else. And while some pineapples actually do get imported here, which someone will need to explain the economics of that one to me because that's scratching my head. If you actually get a Hawaii produced pineapple, like a local one, you can tell how much better it is. It tastes so good. Wish there was a North American dollar. No. I don't want to saddle the United States economy with some of the laggards. I'm cool with keeping separate currencies. The U.S. is a big enough economy, and it doesn't make sense for such disparate economies to use the same currency. This is the same issue some countries like Greece had with the Euro crisis in 2010. There are some reasons you wouldn't want to do that. So let's see here. Where was this from? This was from Kamuela. I'm probably saying that wrong. This is the one thing. I wish I was better at pronouncing Hawaiian things more, but I'm still working on that. Kamuela is... Oh no, that's... Wait, that can't be right. It's 96743. Oh! Okay, never mind. It's on the Big Island, actually. So yeah, it looks like there's a... Yep, it's near Waimea. That's really cool. But that's kind of funny. There's a farm over there called Carolina Bully. I agree. Like, I'm going to keep trying. I'm actually doing a little bit of Hawaiian on Duolingo. Not enough to learn the language, but like if I just do Unit 1, I'll be able to... It's more about learning to say things properly. Like, and also pick up on some of the Hawaiian that gets used in Pidgin. Because a lot of locals, they don't speak Pidgin around the harbor, but the further away from any of the bases you get, the more Hawaiian Pidgin you hear. And it's a bit like, okay, you know how in Louisiana, if you get into the Cajun country, you hear the Cajun Creole, or, you know, sort of very heavy Cajun English. It's kind of similar to Hawaiian Pidgin in the sense that if you know little bits and pieces of French, it'll help you understand better. So I'm trying to learn that. I love the euro. We visit Italy. No, there's a lot of euros per year currency conversions. Why would you avoid Greece, though? Greece uses the euro. They haven't used the drachma in like 20 years. So Hawaiian Pidgin, that's Pidgin, is a Creole language that mixes English, Hawaiian, Portuguese, and a bunch of East Asian languages to create sort of a local way for people who didn't have similar language backgrounds to talk to each other. Hawaiian Pidgin became a thing mostly on the sugar and then pineapple plantations in the 1800s, because in those days a lot of foreign labor was imported mostly from Asia and also Portugal for some reason, and also from the United States to a lesser extent to work the plantations there. So that's sort of where Hawaiian pigeon comes from. It's why it's like, for instance, trying to think of a really good example of Hawaiian pigeon. So this is a really good example. So if you are asked to go, if you are asked, you want to come with, get some ono grinds. So ono is Hawaiian for like really tasty, really good. Grinds is Hawaiian pigeon for food. So like, if you want to go get, where's some good ono grinds, brah? That's like, and I know, again, I'm probably not saying it correctly, but humor me here. That's the local example of, like, that's sort of how a lot of people in Hawaii would say, where's a really good restaurant? Where's a really good place to eat? As an example. Yeah, the Greeks used the euro, and that's part of the reason the Greeks had so many problems in 2008 to 2012 is because they lied in the 80s and the 90s about their financial situation to get into the Eurozone. And once they got into the Eurozone, they realized, oh shit, we can't inflate our way out of this problem because we're tied to the euro. We can't make more euros just on our own the same way that we would have been able to with the drachma or, the way Poland might have with the, I think theirs is the, it's the Z and then the L with a line through it. I have no idea how to pronounce Polish shit. ZLOTY. You go look up how to say it. Or the Czechs, I think, did with the Koruna. I want to say it's theirs. You get the idea. I pronounce Hawaiian words in a sexy way. Well, I'm trying to do a little bit of Olelo Hawaii in Duolingo. And I still haven't been able to figure out exactly yet. I still need to get more intel from locals on this. Is it considered respectable, or is it considered respectful or like cultural appropriation / cringe to say things to pronounce things like a little bit more traditionally Hawaiian if you're not from here? I don't really know the answer yet and exactly how to do it properly. So it's just I'm really trying to balance the fine line of being respectful without doing too much cultural appropriation. So it's like, it's a gray area, Well, thank you very much for the sub there, JJ. The intention is what matters. It is, but at the same time, yeah. I hate Poland. Their currency sucks. Dude, Poland is the strongest military in the EU right now. I heavily fucks with Poland. Saying things in Polish is strange because they use vowels and consonants very differently than English, but I will say Hawaii doesn't do that. For the most part, like if you see letters, the letters are pronounced the way they sound, like phonetically. Can you do a house tour? No. So I'm staying with a roommate here, and this room's kind of the only place I really want to show you guys. I can show you a little bit of where I am outside, but what I don't want to do is kind of dox myself again, mostly for my roommate's sake. I'm up on a high-rise, so I've posted pictures of some of the places I've been around the island on my Discord, but for my roommate's sake, I'm not going to share exactly where I am on the island. Plus, it's going to change in about a month. But I can do a house tour come June when I move into my more permanent place. Is there a boyfriend in the house? No. You may have good military, but you have researched Polish currency. It's shit. It's as laughable as the Canadian dollar. Oh, okay, but Poland's economy has been one of the strongest in Europe for the last 15, 20 years. In fact, Poland is rapidly becoming a much wealthier country on par with the Czech Republic, Portugal, and Estonia. Is Poland as rich as, say, Germany yet? Well, of course not. But granted, Poland had to survive under 50 years of Soviet mismanagement, frankly, for lack of a better term, after the Cold War. So, yeah, that's a little bit of a handicap. But I would say the Polish are doing a bang-up job right now. I got no complaints from them. All right, Trigger Bell, you stay safe. You have a good one. I think I'm going to probably call this a night. Polish army still uses horses instead of tanks. The Polish army has signed up for the F-35 program. The Polish army, or not Polish army, the Polish Air Force. The Poles have bought pretty much every weapon system the U.S. can manufacture, including ones that haven't even been fully developed yet. The Poles have bought in hard on HIMARS, ATACMS, all sorts of other weapon systems. Honestly, there is no military in the European continent that I think could take the Poles in a conventional battle. I might go with the British over the Poles, but it would be a tough fight. I think the Poles would beat the Russians, and badly, actually. I also think the Poles would... The Poles have a good reason to want to pick that fight, historically speaking. It's very funny, like, how... it's very funny how going back to the whole socialism communism bit, very funny how the strongest anti-communists are the people who had to live under communism. Very interesting how that works, isn't it? Polish can get their currency out. The sooner they join the Eurozone, the better. I would agree with that in general. I think the Euro should be something a stronger Euro and a stronger EU is a general good thing for human rights, but I think the Polish have been wise to stick with their currency until their GDP per capita gets a little bit closer to the levels of, say, a France or an Italy or a Germany, as opposed to getting into early on the euro, which is what the Greeks did, and paying the price. One centralized just currency is just better. Again, I don't think you can just make a broad sweeping generalization. I think it's country to country, you need to evaluate the usage of the euro. Now, I will say, in terms of integration, I think Brexit was absolutely stupid. And the UK probably could have gotten away with... I think the UK would have been just fine adopting the euro. I get why they didn't do it. And frankly, the pound is a strong enough currency to where they'd be just fine otherwise. But no, I don't think every European country, especially the eastern ones, should immediately join the Eurozone. I think that should be a long-term goal, but you want to do that very, very deliberately, very, very carefully. What does it mean when a girl locks eyes with me the whole time she's walking past me? Could mean any number of things. It could mean she's wondering, maybe, do I know this guy? Maybe she's attracted to you. Maybe she's thinking about asking you a question, like, I don't know, asking for directions. Maybe she's wondering, oh, that guy looks like someone. Maybe she's staring right through you. Who knows? Women are mysterious creatures that way. So, Dragon Knight, no, Poland would be crushed by Russia. Why? First off, we're talking conventional warfare here. We are not talking about nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapons, once you throw in the nuclear card, yes, the Russians would win. But conventional warfare, I think the Polish would do very well. My proof of this is Russia's had enough issues just fighting the Ukrainians, but Poland has a far more advanced army, far more advanced navy, and far more advanced air force than Ukraine does. Larger doesn't necessarily win every battle. You can do things with size. That is very true. And the Russians have a massive army. But in terms of the amount of weapons stored, I think people really sleep on just how much the Polish have armed themselves. You gotta remember, this is a country that has been partitioned way too many times in its history to where it's ever going to let itself get taken advantage of again. It had to deal with having to fight both the Nazis and the Soviets at the same time. The scars Poland has as a nation and it's just the national psyche runs very deep, which is why the Polish have, again, they consistently spend as a percentage of their economy more than any other country in NATO. Russia hasn't committed everything to the Ukraine front. While that's true, what they have committed is getting pretty badly outclassed by, again, Ukraine, which is, short of Moldova, the poorest economy in Europe pre-war. And while, yes, the Ukrainians are getting aid, the way they have been fighting has been incredible. Frankly, most Western war analysts were convinced that this would become a guerrilla war by about week 3. And I think Putin was one of the people who also thought that way. I don't think anybody assumed the Ukrainians were going to continue fighting for this long. But I really, this is nothing against the Russian army, by the way. I'm not trying to denigrate the Russians. I think people really underestimate just how much money the Poles have been pumping into their military for the last 20 years. Frankly, this is another one. Conventional warfare, I think the Poles kicked the shit out of the French. There's another one. And the French have a very strong military as well. I'm not saying the French have a bad military, but I think people really don't understand just how strong the Polish military is. They would certainly beat the German military. The German military has become a bit of a laughing stock in the EU, but the Germans are starting to take their military commitments a bit more seriously, which is good. Do I like politics? Yeah, to an extent. There are certain things I'm more interested in others. Foreign policy, environmental issues, and the economy. Social issues, I don't give a damn about abortion. It's just not something I care about. I don't have a strong opinion. Gay marriage, sort of the same thing, just not a high tier issue for me. A lot of the new cultural stuff that's going on colleges, actually weirdly the one I really also don't have a strong opinion on is Israel versus Hamas. I know that's a spicy take to not really have a strong opinion on that one, but the trouble here is that Hamas needs to be eliminated at this point, because Hamas is extremely radical, treats women like their property, and they'll throw homosexuals off of buildings, which is fucked up. But at the same time, you have to win the peace. You cannot tell the people of Palestine that, right, if you do not give the people of Palestine a better economic alternative to terrorism, then they will become terrorists. You have to rebuild Palestine in such a manner that there are economic opportunities for the young, 15, 20, 25-year-old men who mostly are the ones that make up Hamas. This is actually one reason I supported the plan that Biden and Secretary Blinken had put out that involved that also it stipulated getting the Gulf states, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, I think Oman, Bahrain, Qatar, involved in rebuilding Palestine to the point where it's got a functional economy. I think that's you can't just win the war, you have to win the peace. And I don't think in particular Benjamin Netanyahu takes that very seriously. I don't have very kind words to say about Netanyahu. He needs to know his place because he thinks he can boss America around, and that turns me off. Right? Nobody tells America what to do. That's not how that works. So I will say, when it comes to foreign policy, I'm pretty pro-America in general. We're not perfect, but we're the best of a bad series of options. North American Union, I don't think that would work. Mexico is not wealthy enough or stable enough yet to where integration would really work. The other countries, mostly in the Caribbean, are also not economically stable enough yet. Like how on earth do you put Haiti into that? You can't. Haiti is a failed state for a lot of very complex historical reasons, but you can't create a union that has failed states like that. You also probably can't do one with an openly communist nation, which is what Cuba is. I do support rapprochement with the Cubans because our current policy is outdated, stupid, and honestly incredibly harmful. We should have closed down Gitmo decades ago because why would you have that prison complex in Cuba when you could have it in the U.S. and provide jobs to the American people? You're spending the same amount of money anyway. All you're doing is giving the Cubans a legitimate reason to hate you and sowing the seeds of mistrust among the entirety of Latin America. So, that's one. Haiti isn't a North American country. Okay, so do you define the Caribbean as North America or no? Where do you define the lines of North America? You know, if it's just the U.S., Mexico, and Canada, you could, in theory, do that with the U.S. and Canada, but Mexico is not stable enough for where that would work. You've still got some states within Mexico. First off, interesting fun fact, it's the United Mexican States is actually the... it might not be united. It's just the Mexican states. Mexico does have states in the same way the U.S. has states. I actually know most of them, but many Mexican states, particularly in the south of Mexico, are not stable enough and have large chunks of the states run by drug cartels. You cannot integrate that into a larger union. You have to solve that first. You have to come to some form of stability before that. Is it North America? I mean, it depends, right? The Bahamas are north of a good chunk of Mexico. Many Caribbean countries are north of a good chunk of Mexico. You know, right? Where do you define North America? It's a good question. A lot of people say North America begins at Panama. And if that's the case, now you've got to look at Nicaragua, Honduras, Costa Rica, Guatemala, El Salvador, and all the other countries, right? You've got to look at all the Caribbean countries. Bermuda, right? Bermuda is that in North America? It's about as far north latitude-wise as I believe South Carolina, Georgia. So is Bermuda part of North America? This is where you get into the gray areas. And if you're going to construct some sort of political or economic union, you have to have those questions ironed out. So it depends. Is Central America part of North America? And if it is, if it isn't, right? And then it's the same thing with Mexico. It turns me off, Benadryl knocks me out. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, it is almost 7. I've been going for a lot longer than I thought I would be going, so I think I'm going to go ahead and look for someone to raid. I'm going to hang out on the Discord more if y'all want to continue hanging out there. Going to go ahead and post the link one more time. Discordio. Who do we got? We've got Jasu, Green Sween. If you're feeling adventurous... I don't really think I'm gonna raid any of these people. I don't see anybody else on that I really want to raid. Who else we got? Yeah. No, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. I don't think we're going to raid anybody. So that's going to be it for me tonight. Y'all have a great y'all have a great week. I'm going to... Y'all probably will not see me next until next weekend. Since this is the first week I have... I start work out here. So it should be a lot of fun. But until then, y'all, make good decisions. Those good decisions will form your habits. Those habits will form your values. Those values will form an ethos that can be the guide star through the rough waters of life. Much love, y'all. Come in for the hug. And thank you very much for the bits. I think that's going to be it for us tonight, y'all. Y'all have a great evening. Cheers. Good night.